Good afternoon. My name is Kathleen Brown, Chair of the School Board, and I call this administrative, informal, and workshop session to order. We are on the school board administrative matters and reports. I have a couple of things as we get to the end of the academic year.
Madam Chair, can
Yes,
I just take roll?
Yep, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. President of the School Board Chamber are Chair Brown, Vice Chair Weems, Mr. Bowensteel, Mr. Callen, Mr. Culpepper, Mr. Cummings, Ms. Dwyer, Ms. Felton, Dr. Green, Ms. Melnick, and Ms. Rogers.
Thank you. The first thing is we vote on our committee assignments at the end of June. So school board colleagues, if you can, review your committee assignments or look at the committees that are available and email Vice Chair Weems and I your requests so that we can get that together and bring it on for information at our next formal meeting and for action at the end of June there. That would be great. Also, you got.
Madam Chair, I'll remind you, under Appendix C, the staff members to the committees should also be sending information with their chair for that committee to the school board chair. They basically, the meetings you had during the year and who attended them, that's one of your requirements under Appendix C.
And that here is in my list as well. So chairs of those standing committees under Appendix C, as our attorney just mentioned, if you could submit your attendance for those meetings, we need that here as we get to the end of the year. And then our clerk sent us a reminder about graduation attendance grids. Those are due tomorrow, so if you could take a look at that. And just a reminder, we have the superintendent evaluation next week at 4 p.m. And then also we have the retreat schedule here in front of you in your packet. There was quite a few last minute requests, and I worked with Dr. Robertson and Vice Chair Weems to modify this retreat agenda, so it is here in front of you in your packet. I think it's under this cover sheet. So anyway, I open the floor for any other. Okay. All right. Moving on, we are now on to our mental health services update.
All right. Yes, ma'am.
So our superintendent's evaluation is June 2nd, correct? Okay, and then our next formal meeting is June 8th, so.
Which is Monday, June 8th.
Monday, June 8th, so, and thank you for that reminder as well, so that we can make sure everybody doesn't get their days crossed. All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, before I get started, just to say, good afternoon, Chairwoman Brown, Vice Chairwoman Weems, members of the school board, and Dr. Robertson. My name is Robert Jameson, Executive Director for the Office of Student Support Services, and I'm here today to provide an update on the current mental health initiatives in Virginia Beach City Public Schools. I'm going to pause there because I'm not 100% certain that what's in your handouts or your packet with handouts directly matches all the slides, but what is online is accurate, so I'll make sure that you have access to what you need. We shall see. All right. For today's presentation, we will review current needs and challenges related to mental health, share information from the Mental Health Task Force, and outline several next steps. With May being Mental Health Awareness Month, it is important to note how approximately 23.1% of adults in the United States experience a mental health disorder each year, with half of all mental health disorders beginning by age 14 and 75% by age 24. Suicide is the second leading cause of death in youth ages 10 to 14, and the third leading cause of death in young adults ages 15 to 24. As you see in the table overall, we are seeing a decrease in the total number of suicide risk assessments in comparison to the 23-24 school year. Although middle school will likely increase this year, we do not anticipate reaching the total number from the 23-24 school year. We are making progress in this critical area and will continue working to meet our students' and families' needs. Many of the updates I share today come from the work of this year's Mental Health Task Force. This year, as in previous years, the task force is comprised of parents who are VBCPS employees, a school board member, Mrs. Rogers, community mental health service providers, community stakeholders, school administrators, counselors, psychologists, behavior intervention specialists, central office staff, as well as central office administrators. On the slide, you see the logos of the community organizations who are participating. And as always, I want to take this opportunity to thank all participating members. Their hard work, dedication, passion, and willingness to contribute continue to be phenomenal. The work of the Mental Health Task Force continues to serve as an extension of our Virginia Beach School Safety Task Force led by Dr. Robertson, Mr. Jack Freeman, and city officials. In August 2021, the school board confirmed 10 recommendations for the Mental Health Task Force, which continue to shape the task force's organizational structure. The stigma team felt there needed to be more specific efforts towards family engagement and staff mental health. To honor this need, work teams were updated to access, awareness, family engagement, and staff mental health for this year. For updates and accomplishments, we will begin with the Access Work Team, and please note all programs on this slide require parental consent. The division continues to partner with Child and Youth Behavioral Health Services of Virginia Beach to offer rapid response services to elementary students and their families. These services ensure families are connected with appropriate services that are available through the City of Virginia Beach. Since the beginning of the school year, we have processed 53 rapid response referrals. We have expanded our partnership with Child and Youth Behavioral Health to include brief counseling. This program began in September 2024 at the Renaissance Academy and in January 2026 for elementary students. The Child and Youth Behavioral Health clinicians provide 6 to 12 sessions of short-term, solution-focused outpatient therapy. And since the launch of this program, there have been 64 referrals, 44 at the elementary level, and 20 at the Renaissance Academy. Additionally, we continue to partner with CHKD to offer a bridge program to secondary students and have expanded these services to some elementary students. This school year, we have received 58 bridge referrals. Through our Department of Technology, Securely alerts, they alert us when students submit content that suggests a threat to harm self or others. During school hours, these alerts are received and addressed by security and emergency management and school staff. After school hours, security and emergency management staff, have responded to these concerns 24 hours a day on nights, weekends, and holidays. Security and emergency management have received 292 mental health securely alerts so far this school year, and through our partnership CHKD, responded to 69 of these after school hours referrals, leading to completion of immediate risk assessments, creation of safety plans, and referrals to emergency services. Of the 69 after hours mental health securely notifications, 13 resulted in a referral to the Bridge program. For the 2025-26 school year, VBCPS was awarded the Virginia Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Services grant for tele-mental health services. The Virginia Department of Education provided school divisions with a list of approved providers, and VBCPS selected UWill to be the service provider. VBCPS chose UWill because they offer an unlimited number of sessions, and families do not need insurance to participate. This resource is only for secondary students. Again, parental consent is required, and services are only available outside of school hours. Additionally, students can access UHelp for direct connection to a licensed counselor, for crisis support, and URISE, which is on-demand wellness programming. On the next slide, we will review some of the participation data. Since launching UWill in December 2025, 108 secondary students have registered, and 81 are currently engaging with UWill as of May 8th to address anxiety, depression, and stress. Again, all with parental consent. In a recent communication from UWill to Dr. Robertson, one of their team members shared the following. There have been 184 instances where students actively searched for a follow-up session within a week of their most recent appointment, which really underscores the need for immediate and accessible support given the reality of long wait lists elsewhere. Just as important, the VBCPS team has been exceptional to work with. The staff at both the district and school level have been incredibly collaborative, responsive, and genuinely wonderful partners throughout this process. That level of engagement makes a real difference in how effectively students and families are able to access care. As a quick recap of the VBCPS mental health services landscape, rapid response is a 3-hour intake process to connect families with services. Brief counseling services are for K-12 students not at risk for hospitalization. UWill provides telemental health for secondary students who need mental health support. And the CHKD Bridge program is for secondary students at risk for hospitalization. With 3 hours for each rapid response referral, an average of 6 sessions for each of the students referred to the other programs, and at a value of $200 per hour, VBCPS provides over $275,000 worth of services to our community. In addition to the direct services we just reviewed, CareSolace helps VBCPS families navigate the mental health care and social services systems. CareSolace staff help individuals find a provider, schedule appointments, and follow up after the first appointment to ensure their needs have been met. This resource is available to every VBCPS student and anyone residing with one of our students. In addition, CareSolace services are available to all VBCPS employees and anyone residing with an employee. This school year, CareSolace expanded its reach to also include social service components, and on the slide are data for the mental health requests processed through May 2026. On this slide are data for the social services requests processed through also May 2026. This means CareSolace received 224 requests for items such as food, housing, and healthcare, and made 630 matches with local providers. For example, CareSolace may receive one request for food assistance, and they may then match student or families with 3 agencies who could support its needs. So individual requests can result in multiple matches. This has been a valuable tool for both families and staff, especially our social workers when supporting our community. Here's where you may see some animations that you don't have noted in your handout. This slide outlines some of the key performance indicators in the form of requests from the community, communications from CareSolace, and warm handoffs. A warm handoff occurs when a school submits a referral for a family, CareSolace receives the information from the school, and CareSolace successfully links the family with a provider. From the table, VBCPS is seeing an increase in warm handoffs, total appointments into care, and anonymous searches. With more warm handoffs, we are seeing fewer family-initiated services. Additionally, we expect an overall decrease in unreachable families and those who decline services. This table outlines demographics for those who access the site, with 90% of requests aimed at supporting children and adolescents, and we're seeing a 2% increase in adults seeking care in comparison to last year. Please note that both for age and ethnicity, the breakdown is similar to previous years and closely matches the demographics of our school division. This table provides data on the presenting concerns leading to the need for support, and this is a continued trend over the past couple of years, with anxiety and depression remaining as our top 2 reasons for which people seek services. As mentioned before, CareSolace expanded its reach to include social service components, and the top services requested in Virginia Beach are to address food scarcity, transportation, and financial assistance. And the resources CareSolace matches with requests include food pantries, food delivery services, and food assistance programs, transitional housing and shelters, and free or low-cost medical and dental providers. Here are the top 10 insurance providers coordinated through CareSolace. Please note the percentage of Medicaid-eligible families using the resource. This is our 3rd year in a row with Medicaid being the highest, which is an indicator that our families who may have the greatest need are making use of the resource. The Awareness Work Team is focused on providing a variety of activities for schools in the community. Throughout the school year, task force members shared mental health resources at various events, such as the VBCPS indoor track meets, the Tide Parent Breakfast, the FACE Family Resource Fair, New Educator Orientation, College Night, the Triple E Fair, and Title I Family Engagement events. At the Tide Parent Breakfast and FACE Family Resource Fair, members of the team presented information to families about the available resources in our school division. For the 2nd year, VBCPS partnered with the Public Library and GrowSmart to co-sponsor the Celebrating Children event. This event was held on Saturday, April 18th, 2026, and I believe you've seen a video as shared by Dr. Robertson. This was out in Mount Trashmore from 8:30 a.m. to noon and engaged the estimated 4,000 attendees with a variety of wraparound services. We look forward to continuing to partner with the Public Library and GrowSmart to co-sponsor the event. Last summer, 10 VBCPS staff members participated in a 5-day train the trainer session to be able to lead applied suicide intervention skills training, or ASSIST, workshops. This year, the team has delivered 12 ASSIST workshops and will deliver 2 more in June. Over the initial 12 trainings, the team has trained 116 school counselors, psychologists, and social workers. This 2-day training provides the participants with additional skills to assist those at risk of suicide or experiencing suicidal ideation. Over the past 2 summers, 6 staff members have participated in a 3-day train the trainer session so that they can teach youth mental health first aid workshops. This year, the team has delivered 8 workshops and will deliver 1 more before the end of the year. And over the course of this school year, the team has trained 69 school and central office staff members, and this full-day training is designed to teach participants how to identify, understand, and respond to signs of mental health and substance abuse challenges in adolescents. The awareness team also worked throughout the year to develop content for the Mental Health Corner featured in the VBCPS Family Newsletter and resources for schools to use to promote Mental Health Awareness Month. As previously mentioned, the stigma team has divided into 2 groups at the start of the year: family engagement and staff mental health. The family engagement team focused on breaking down the stigma of mental health by engaging families in conversation and providing opportunities for families to learn about the mental health resources we have. The family engagement team reimagined the mental health resource document by dividing it into 3 tabs so families can easily find resources specific to their needs. So resources for families, VBCPS services, and students seeking support. The team has continued their work with the Office of Family Community Engagement to create a series of webinars on various mental health topics. The second installment of the series is available this month, and it discusses all the resources available to students. In terms of next steps, the task force and division include continuing the efforts shared today. We will continue to reinforce access to and the use of mental health resources, deliver professional development to staff, and report progress and outcomes to various stakeholder groups. In this next slide, the first quote from the American Psychiatric Association that you see on the screen speaks to the underreporting that often occurs when researching mental health and mental health concerns. And give you a second, if you are able, you are not. So let me read part of that quote to you. More than half of people with mental illness do not receive help for their disorders. Often people avoid or delay seeking treatment due to concerns about being treated differently. The public self-instructional stigma in society related to mental health impacts whether people report experiencing concerns and or seek out the necessary treatment. And the second quote is from the Virginia Department of Education. And they shared, schools provide a natural setting for sharing mental health services, including telehealth services, making them accessible and less stigmatized compared to external services. This comprehensive approach can lead to improved academic outcomes, decreases in discipline, and improved attendance. So it remains vital, as this explains the why for our work, for our school division to provide ample opportunities for students and families to access care with as few barriers as possible. So I thank you for your support of the task force and the opportunity to present today. This concludes the presentation, and I'm ready to answer any questions you may have at this time.
Ms. Rogers?
I just want to say thank you so much for all the work that you do, Mr. Jameson. I know that working with all of the mental health task force individuals has been truly an honor. There's just so much hard work that goes into this, and really ensuring that not only our students have access, but our staff, everyone in the community, as much as possible, can have access to this, to these services. And if you really look at the data that is shown, are the students that are looking for help with anxiety and depression, when you get help there, then you're not to the point of suicide. So it really does make a difference in our students' lives and in our staff's lives. And so I appreciate all the work that you guys do. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Bowenstiel?
Yes, thank you for the presentation. I'm just curious, the mental health security alerts. Could you just give me like a little info on kind of what that is?
So, and I can do both during school day or after school day. So anytime a student, let's say we're in an English 11 class focusing on a research project, student may have selected a certain item to research, and it could be mental health related. As anyone who's connected to our network or using one of our devices, we have Securely software in the background screening that content. So Securely will get a ping, if you will, of a potential concerning comment being entered or even searched by a student. On the Securely side, they have an internal team that will then review that, put it in context, like is the student, based on the school days, it seemed like a research project. Are we getting multiple hits all at the same time for the same topic? If they do, then we don't receive any information. If there's no additional context as to why the student might be searching for that, we then are alerted security emergency management, and then we reach out to the school staff then ensures the student is safe. After school hours, as you can imagine, sometimes students are on devices doing some things that maybe we don't want them doing. And at the same time, sometimes they communicate threats to harm themselves or others. And again, Securely is filtering that. Now, in the evening, that's a little different. Securely tends to immediately contact us no matter what. And then security and emergency management staff, instead of calling the family themselves, they're able to work with CHKD staff who are trained clinicians to then speak with the family to provide any potential mental health support that they need right when they need it. Sir.
Dr. Green?
Thank you, Mr. Jameson, for the information and how much this mental health supports have expanded over the last few years as well. And I also would like to thank our partners that you have coordinated with, because with that coordination, it really defrays the type of expenses and costs that typically come when implementing these type of programs. And I think it should be noted that our students in need, a lot of them now are in a position that literally get wraparound services because of these partnerships and what we provide as a school division. So thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Culpepper?
Hey, thank you for the presentation. I'm just trying to remember. UWIL is funded through a grant.
Correct.
Through SNR. Do you remember what that line item is?
Sure. Well, the line item or the exact amount?
Well, either's fine.
Sure. We were awarded up to $254,000
Okay.
through that grant, and we are using the full amount of $254,000.
Okay, but that's through a contract, right? So we're not paying per
We're not
service.
paying- no, sorry.
That's flat. Okay, thank you.
Vice Chair Weems? Just to piggyback on that, and when does the grant end and we have to reapply?
We're
Or
actually awaiting the renewal contract to make that decision right now. I made a phone call today to the Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Services to see if we could review the renewal, because the cutoff is June 30th. And they told us we were supposed to receive it last week. So I checked in to see if we were going to receive it this week and then make that final decision.
Okay. And then, obviously you had said earlier, we went with UWIL because of the unlimited amount of sessions and the no insurance needed.
That is correct.
Is that, okay. With the chart, and I'm not sure, I guess it's slide 11. The Care Solace Key Performance Indicators. So the total unreachable, the student or staff member or family have reached out to us, but we can't contact them. What does that mean? I'm not sure what that
No,
means.
so typically we have received a referral from the school
Okay,
on behalf of a family.
okay,
And when we and Care Solace have tried to reach out to the family, they're unreachable.
okay. So that was from a referral from, all right,
Right.
okay. And it looks like these numbers, have declined, some of them. So that's good news, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So, and I'll give you an example. The family initiated services, which I believe you should see, it's sitting at 65. We want that number to go down.
Right,
We don't want the burden to be placed on families to initiate the calls for support. We have staff who are trying to navigate that with them. So that's a good one, as well as we do want to see in some, those total decline services to be decreasing as well, as you
Okay.
could imagine. So as they
Right.
see the value of what's being
Right.
provided, they say yes more often, and we do see and we hope that we will remain below that number from last year.
right. Yeah, I think this chart says that it's working, so that's great news. And I like that you clarified that it's parental consent. And so that's very important. And I want to thank you also for all the work you do. I know how hard you work, Mr. Jameson, and we appreciate it. You and your team.
Yes, I
So
appreciate that.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mr. Cummings?
Yeah, thank you again for so much of your work. And I know that we had some conversations before about UWIL. And I think one of the pieces also to add in, how many languages did you mention that they're able to speak in?
14.
14.
Yes.
And so I know as a diverse, multilingual community, I think that's a really strong aspect as well about. I mean, I don't know what the other vendors are like, but I think that stood out to me when I was sitting on a commission. I was asked about, is that how many languages are represented with this particular vendor, so that folks can receive the best service in their native tongue. And so I think that's a great piece. Walk me through. So I know we're looking to see what round 2 looks like, but walk me through. What do you think? What would communication and engagement to our community for this tool look like as it continues to grow? Because I know this year is kind of like a launch.
Correct.
Because I think it's such a great, there's parental consent. It's done after school. Kids get services pretty quickly, and I know how important that is for someone to talk to somebody when they're facing an issue and not have to be on the back line for 6 months or 3 months. Like, walk me through what would like the next phase look like?
Well, 3 immediate things will happen. Mm-hmm. One, we're going to be sharing information at new educator orientation so that new staff they know that this exists. Last year at that time, we didn't have a contract in place. 2, the back to school fair that will occur at the convention center again, we'll have information, we'll have a table, it's already been established, very similar to the table you heard me describe tonight. Mm-hmm. That will be present with everyone at least having the opportunity to receive a flyer for all of our resources.
Great.
And then 3, beginning of the school year, 26, 27, there'll be school-based communications that go out in addition to school division newsletter and other communications that go out. So they'll have direct access through those 3 means just to start out. And then as you can imagine, College Night will again be able to share information, which is always a very popular table at College Night, and other events throughout the fall that we didn't get a chance to have since we started the contract a little later.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic, hearing about how many of our students have issues around anxiety, depression, and then seeing the heavy amount of, Medicaid users as well, how this is a free resource that meets people and their needs. And so the other question I had was with some of the things that you mentioned about training the trainer, specifically around suicide intervention. And so that's something that I'm personally passionate about, and so I applaud that efforts, and I'm very curious, with these train-the-trainer models, are there opportunities to expand that to our student body as well? I've seen some of the train-the-trainer models for, high school students or high school leaders and whatnot. Has that something that's been done or something under consideration or thoughts?
You teed that up beautifully.
I teed it up?
So if you've noticed...
We didn't even talk, though.
We didn't, but you did a great job. So as I shared in the script, it said 2 years or 2 summers worth of 6 staff being youth mental health trained so that they can then be trainers. That's a requirement to then implement teen mental health first aid.
I love it.
So in order for you to even become a teen mental health first aid trainer, you have to have been a youth mental health first aid trainer. And we now have staff who are in that position to where we can make that happen. So that's one of our options to increase mental health literacy for students next year. We have a couple others that we're exploring right now too.
Awesome. That's great to hear. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Dwyer?
Yeah, I just have a quick question. My heart kind of sunk when I saw the unreachable. And what do you accredit that to? Maybe the stigma?
I do, especially since it's school or even staff initiated. Sometimes you don't, but we're going to work to build on that to where we can share more information. Those same channels I just mentioned for You Will are also going to have resources related to Care Solace, and we're going to have to build more trust over time. And I think that with that time and staff continuing to support, I guess destigmatizing that feeling of there's nothing wrong, we just want to better help your child, I think we'll see those numbers go down and then see access increase.
Yeah, and to encourage while they're young
Right.
and to catch it now. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for your presentation. I do have a question. My colleagues asked a couple questions about UL, and that was grant funded.
Yes, ma'am.
So there's another application for an additional grant related to that?
Same grant. They're giving
Okay.
us the opportunity to simply renew. To your question, we have been told that this may be the last year that we get an automatic renewal, and that we can expect in the fall to receive notification that we'll need to formally apply for the next round of renewable grants.
Okay, so we're anticipating that they will renew that grant then.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
We are now on to Human Capital Management Update, and we welcome David Den, Chief Information Officer, and Dr. Darnita Trotman, Chief Human Resources Officer, and Crystal Pate, Chief Financial Officer. And I just want to put this out there for the board. We will need to go into closed session briefly, so just keep that in mind as we're going through this conversation.
Sounds good. Good afternoon, Chair Brown, Vice Chair Weems, members of the board, and Dr. Robertson. This afternoon, I am joined by Chief Financial Officer Crystal Pate and Chief Human Resources Officer Dr. Darnita Trotman to provide the board with an update on a major project that will improve the systems we use to pay and support every employee in Virginia Beach City Public Schools. This presentation is informational. We are not requesting action. Our goal is to ensure the board has full understanding of this initiative as we approach a critical procurement milestone next month. This work has been led by 3 departments since last fall: the Department of Technology, the Department of Human Resources, and the Department of Budget and Finance.
Every employee in our school division uses these systems every day. Teachers, principals, bus drivers, cafeteria staff, and central office team members all rely on them. The systems support 4 main areas. Human Resources tracks hiring and maintains employee records. Payroll ensures employees are paid accurately and on time. Benefits manages health insurance enrollment, benefits tracking, and retirement services. Time and attendance tracks employee work hours and leave usage. In the technology industry, this group of systems is called a Human Capital Management System, or HCM for short. Our current system is called WISE, and it is more than 20 years old.
So the question the board should reasonably be asking right now is, why now? The biggest reason is a hard deadline. The company that makes our current system has announced that they will stop supporting it on December the 31st, 2030. After that date, the system will no longer get security updates, and we will not get any help if it breaks. Running a payroll system in that condition is a serious risk. There are other reasons too. Our system is more than 20 years old and was not built for how a modern school division operates. Our staff have to use spreadsheets and manual steps to do work the system should handle on its own. Different jobs are spread across many different tools instead of one connected platform. After 20 years of small fixes, this system is fragile and hard to maintain. And because replacing a system of this complexity is inherently a multi-year undertaking, the time to begin is now, not when we're 1 year from the end of support with nowhere to go. This slide shows the four phases of the project and where we are today. The first phase was planning. We did this from October to December of last year. We set up the project, chose our advisor, and met with staff across 7 departments. This phase is complete. We are now in the second phase, which is requirements and RFP. We have spent the past several months meeting with staff to learn exactly what we need the new system to do. We held 13 workshops to capture this. Right now, we are writing the request for proposals, which is the formal document we send to companies that sell these systems. The third phase is solution selection. We will release the RFP in June. Companies will respond and demonstrate their systems in the fall. We will choose a vendor between November and January of next year. The last phase is implementation. This is the big one. It will take about 2 years and will end with the new system going live on July the 1st, 2029. That date matches the first day of the next fiscal year, which keeps payroll and financial reporting clean.
Now to the cost of the project. The total cost to implement the new system is approximately $22 million over the next 4 years. This investment includes the software platform, implementation services that help us set the system up, and support and guidance provided by our external advisor throughout the project. Once the system is fully operational, the estimated annual operating cost will be approximately $2.8 million. We want to be transparent with the board that this represents an increase over our current cost. Modern cloud-based systems typically require higher annual operating investments. However, they also provide enhanced security updates, regular system updates, support, improved reliability, and expanded functionality that our current system cannot provide. Funding for the project is being provided through the Capital Improvement Program. To date, approximately $18 million has been set aside through reversion funds previously approved by the school board and city council. The remaining funding needed for the project will be added over the next 2 budget cycles using the same process. It is also important to address staffing needs associated with a project of this scale. Successful implementation will require involvement from staff in human resources, budget and finance, and technology. Some employees will need to dedicate substantial time to the project, which may require temporary backfilling of operational responsibilities. A detailed staffing plan and associated cost will be presented to the board as part of our upcoming budget discussions.
Our school division competes for talented teachers and staff in a challenging labor market. Every interaction employees have with our systems, from applying for a job to managing their career in VBCPS, shapes their experience and supports Goal 3 of Compass to 2030. A new system will provide 5 key improvements. First, improved payroll efficiency and integration. A modern system will streamline and reduce manual work behind the scenes. Second, less manual work. HR and finance teams will spend less time on spreadsheets and workarounds and more time supporting employees in schools. Third, one connected platform. Hiring, onboarding, payroll, benefits, and employee information will work together in one integrated system. Fourth, enhance employee self-service. Employees will continue to access pay, benefits, and personal information through a more modern and user-friendly experience. Fifth, long-term sustainability. The new system will provide ongoing vendor support, security updates, and flexibility for the future. These improvements will strengthen daily operations and enhance the experience for thousands of VBCPS employees.
So here's what comes next. The biggest near-term milestone is the request for proposals, which we release this June. The RFP is a public document that asks companies to show us how their systems can meet our needs. It will include specific requirements for Virginia rules around payroll and teacher licenses. After the RFP is out, vendors will demonstrate their products this fall after the school is back in session, so we don't pull staff away from the start of the school year. We expect to choose a vendor between November and January of 2027. From January through June of 2027, we will finalize the contract and get the vendor team set up. Implementation begins July 2027 and continues through June 2029. The board will receive quarterly updates on this project. As we wrap up, here are some key points to remember. First, We are replacing 4 core systems: HR, payroll, benefits, and time and attendance. Our current system stopped receiving vendor support at the end of 2030. Second, this is a 3.5-year project. The new system goes live on July 1st, 2029. Third, the total cost is about $22 million over 4 years, paid through the Capital Improvement Program. Fourth, after the system is running, the annual cost is about $2.8 million. This is higher than today, but reflects the value of a modern and supported secure system. Fifth, the RFP will be released in June. That's the next major step. And finally, the board will continue to receive updates for the life of this project. We're not asking, as a reminder, we're not asking the board for any action tonight. This update is just to make sure that you're informed as we move into the RFP process next month. And with that, we appreciate your time and are ready for any questions that you may have.
Okay, Mr. Cummings?
So I got to know what goes into a $22 million implementation. You know, I know there's talk on. You mentioned the detailed plan in upcoming meetings. So I'm just kind of curious just to unpack that number a little more, just at a high level, what we should expect over 3 to 4 years. And just, yeah, I'd love to hear just a little bit more about that.
So,
and how do we come to that number if
so
RFPs aren't out?
Yeah, so we're not the only one who's done this. So actually, the city of Virginia Beach is actually going through the similar process right now. They're a little bit further ahead of us because they started before us, but that estimate is based on organizations our size, them and other school divisions our size, having gone through the same type of project and knowing how much that costs for an organization that size to go through it. So that is the estimate that was received not only through that experience from the city, but I believe 4 other large school divisions in Virginia who've gone through the similar process.
So just help me understand. So, you know, I'm excited about the fact that we're going to be getting rid of spreadsheets and tedious manual processes. And I know our staff are going to be excited about that too. I think when teachers and folks get to no longer fill out those spreadsheets, they'll be jumping with joy and whatnot. Help me understand then. So are we looking to probably add some headcount then? I assume with the new tech platform, I assume that there's probably going to be some form of support system admin. Are we looking to level up existing? What's that kind of look like at a high level?
So we've received advice from our advisory team that yes, that will likely end up happening. We haven't gone through the specifics and details of that yet to know exactly how many that'll be in the Department of Technology, HR, and Budget and Finance in order to support the new system. But we've been advised that yes, at this point, it is very likely that we will need to add additional staff to support the new system. As soon as we have determined exactly what that looks like, we will certainly come back to the board and let you know, and you'll certainly hear about it in the fall budget process.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I think like we employ a lot of folks. We're a big community, and software definitely costs money to the scale of the number of users that we have. So I understand the yearly costs, and I understand how important it is to invest in a vendor that is probably gonna, and I know that we'll get different proposals, but to invest in a vendor that has longevity to them, because when you think about data security, you know, there's gonna be a lot of personal information going into the system, and so sometimes you get what you get when you go super budget. You know, a lot of those companies do, I know, end up going under, acquired, and whatnot. So I understand why this is such an important investment, and you know why there is a higher sticker price. I just was kind of curious just to hear more about the 22 million implementation, and then maybe also consider what I'm doing with my life where I can get $22 million implementations. So that's all.
Mr. Culpepper?
I had the same thought. You mentioned 2.8 million was an increase in the annual cost. What is the current annual cost?
We pay approximately, I believe it's about $860,000 a year for our suite of tools this fiscal year.
Okay. My only other question is, I take it that the 18 million that's been appropriated, that's approved bonds. Is that what that is? That's debt. Okay. And then you're expecting the rest of it to be funded through reversion. I see that.
We are, and that will be where debt is issued, and we've been putting that money, but it is reversion, so it's cash, but so there's cash that goes in there, but then it likely will be some debt involved. And we hope to, it's possible you could do it in 1 year, but, since we have a couple years, we'll probably want to spread that out over the couple of years that we have.
Okay, so just clarify what you said. 4 million in cash through reversion, 18 million in bonds through CIP.
So it's 18 million appropriated, so it's it's reversion, so that's cash that's actually gone into that project. Yes,
18 million is cash?
Because when we do the reversion process and we come to you and say that we have that money that's unexpended out of our operating budget and we request that to be reverted and we have to go back to city council for reappropriation.
Okay, I apologize, but you're saying that in a way that's confusing me a little
I'm
bit.
sorry. So when we go through the reversion process,
Yeah, let's stick
Okay.
to the
It's cash.
CIP portion for a second.
yeah, it's cash.
The CIP is cash. Okay, thank you.
Ms. Rogers?
Thank you so much for all of your updates. So this 22 million, that isn't a hard number just yet because we have the RFPs going out, correct?
That's correct.
And
So-
then, oh, go ahead.
No, so as the project progresses, that amount will get more and more accurate.
Okay,
So
good.
that is the best estimate that we have today.
Right, and so I assume that our crack negotiators could possibly get us a great deal,
Always.
including ongoing support. My husband's been through this, so I've had to listen to all of this. I guess one of my questions is, when we talk about adding extra employees, is there going to be a need for temporary employees? Obviously, when you're taking the system, all of the data, you have to then input it into the new system, which is part of this cost. Are we going to be then employing temporary employees for this so that we're not hiring full-time employees long-term? And we can, onboard the temporary and then offload them as the project continues? How's that going to work?
So what we've heard from other school divisions that have been through this is exactly that. We will need additional help, temporary help.
Right.
During the course of implementation.
Right.
Afterwards, Virginia Beach City Public Schools runs a very lean shop in
Okay.
terms of support.
Okay,
It is very likely that we will need to add to that number on a permanent basis for the ongoing solution for whatever product is selected. But certainly during implementation, we will need some additional temporary staff.
right, okay, and I just want to make sure that, and the reason I'm asking is because I noticed that, some of the financial data in here, and some of this is going to be then automated, and so that's why I'm asking that if we do have automation, therefore some of the tasks on some of our people, despite the fact that we are lean, could then adjust. And so that, that number of how many staff we need is going to be fluctuating depending on what we get. So hopefully we can get some good implementation here. I know as an employee, having to log all of my time on a piece of paper, what time you came in, what time you came out, and when you're trying to go ahead and make up your time for a flex day, everything was on paper. It had to go to the office. All of the office staff have to input that. It's very, very manual and manual heavy. And so this is great that we're not going to have that on our employees and on our office staff to have to do all of this manually. So this is good news. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So a lot of my colleagues asked some of the questions that I had. However, I would be curious later and as we go through the process. I know that you said we run a lean staff, but I would think that given the cost, more automation, that we might not need to permanently have those extra employees. And so, of course, I'm open to be wrong. But that's just my one addition. I was curious about how much the annual cost was, and I assume that would be an operating budget item.
It would, and that too is an estimate, right? So we will get more accurate numbers depending on the companies that respond.
Okay, well, thank you. I look forward to making it easier and of course making sure that we have the support we need because not having access to assistance and security updates is a problem.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Vice Chair Weems.
I move that the school board recess into closed session in accordance with the exceptions to open meetings law set forth in Code of Virginia 2.2-3711, Parts A, Paragraph 7, 829, as amended to deliberate on the following matters. 7, consultation with legal counsel and briefings by staff members or consultants pertaining to actual or probable litigation, where such consultation or briefing in open meetings would adversely affect the negotiating or litigating posture of the public body. For the purposes of this subdivision, probable litigation means litigation that has been specifically threatened or on which the public body or its legal counsel has a reasonable basis to believe will be commenced by or against a known party. Nothing in this subdivision shall be construed to permit the closure of a meeting merely because an attorney representing the public body is in attendance or is consulted on a matter. 8, consultation with legal counsel employed or retained by a public body regarding specific legal matters requiring the provision of legal advice by such counsel. Nothing in this subdivision shall be construed to permit the closure of a meeting merely because an attorney representing the public body is in attendance or is consulted on a matter. 29, discussion of the award of a public contract involving the expenditure of public funds, including interviews of bidders or offerers, and discussion of the terms or scope of each contract, where such discussion in an open session would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the public body. Namely, to discuss A, Princess Anne High School CIP project, discussion on RFQ for owner agent and design build process. B, status of pending litigation or administrative cases. C, consultation with legal counsel regarding probable litigation and pending litigation matters.
Motion made by Vice Chair Weems, seconded by Ms. Dwyer. Any discussion? Seeing none, I call for the vote to go into closed session.
Vice Chair Weems, how do you vote? And Ms. Miller? Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. We have 11 ayes. The motion to pass to go into closed session.
Thank you.
Whereas the school board of the city of Virginia Beach has convened a closed meeting on this day pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act. And whereas section 2.2-3712D of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by the school board that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now therefore be it resolved that the school board of the city of Virginia Beach hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting to which the certification applies, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion by which the closed meeting was convened were heard, discussed, or considered.
Okay, is there a motion? Moved by Mr. Cummings, seconded by Ms. Dwyer. Any discussion? I call for the vote to certify closed session.
So, Madam Chair, we have 10 ayes for the certification of closed session.
Thank you. Vice Chair Weems, would you please read the first motion?
I move that the school board authorize the superintendent or designee to revise or amend Regulation 3-40.1 after providing the school board with a copy of the proposed revision or amendment.
Okay. Moved by Vice Chair Weems. Okay. Moved by Vice Chair Weems, seconded by Mr. Cummings. Any discussion? Seeing none, I call for the vote on the motion related to Regulation 340.1.
Can anybody vote?
It says we already voted. I think you're gonna have to take it by hand vote.
Okay, hold on. Can you guys vote now?
Yes.
Okay.
It's still saying you
All
voted.
right, so Mr. Callen, how do you vote?
Do you wanna just?
Mr. Cummings, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Culpepper, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Felton, how do you vote? Ms. Weems, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Brown, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dr. Green, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Bowensteel, how do you vote? Mr. Dwyer, how do you vote? And Ms. Rogers, how do you vote?
Aye.
So, Madam Chair, we have 10 ayes. The motion did pass for the Regulation 3-40.1.
Thank you. Vice Chair Weems, will you please read the second motion?
I move that the school board extend the time period provided in its resolution student discrimination appeal of 5/12/2026 for the hearing officer to hold a hearing and provide the school board with findings, fact, and recommendations from June 3rd, 26 until June 30th, 26. The reason for the extension was the inability to retain a hearing officer and set hearing dates in sufficient time to meet the original dates set by the school board.
Okay, motion made by Vice Chair Weems. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Culpepper. All those in favor, please raise your hand.
So, Mr. Callen, how do you vote? And Dr. Green, how do you vote?
I'm abstaining for personal reasons.
Okay. Okay, so Madam Chair, we have 8 ayes, 1 nay, and 1 abstention, so the motion did pass.
Thank you. The school board will now recess and return at 6 p.m. for our formal meeting. This informal session is adjourned.